So the question I want to ask is, who do you think the three most important people in all of Buddhism is? Who are the most important three people? Who do you think is number one? Who's the most important? Correct. Obviously, the answer is going to be the Buddha. He's the number one most important person in Buddhism. But now here's where the trick comes in. Who are the second most important and the third most important? Chani, what do you think? Sure, but that's many people, right? But who is the one most important, second most important, and third most important? It can be argued 2 and 3 are the same importance, but they're both very important. Some people would say the Buddha's right-hand monk, the number one smartest monk maybe, Sariputta. Some people would say the number one most powerful mystical power monk, Moggallana. Some people would say they call him the father of the Sangha, the oldest, the wisest, Mahakassapa. People would say many people. But do you know who the second most important person is? When the Buddha was still a regular person, he had a wife named Yasodhara. This woman and her spirit had traveled with the Buddha every life. She had always been his supporter. She had always been his helper. She had always been his wife or girlfriend. Every life she supported him. When he needed help, she was there. When he had to do a hard job, she gave him encouragement. When he needed money or something he couldn't find it, she would make big sacrifices so that he could have the money or the resources he needed to do his work. In every life that he decided to ordain, she supported him, even though she was left and alone. She supported him. She never complained. She never caused trouble for him as much as she could. And so without her supporting him throughout the entire journey of rebirths, he would not have been able to become the Buddha. So the number 2 most important person was his number 1 supporter, which was his wife. Now, who would be the third person then? If the most important person is the Buddha, I don't want to call it wife because when you're a Buddha, you don't have a wife. But when he was the prince, he had a wife, right? So we say Yasodhara, which was her name. Who would be the third most important person in Buddhism? You would think that, right? Maybe his son. He didn't have a daughter, but maybe his son, who became a monk also a great monk when he grew up, became enlightened at a very young age. The third most important, or even you might even put him second, is actually his enemy. The evil monk Thevatada, who tried to break up the religion, tried to kill the Buddha. Every life, when the Bodhisattva, so the Buddha was called the Bodhisattva, was a Buddha in training. Every life that he was born, 2 people would always be born with him. His wife, who would protect him and serve him and help him, and his enemy, who would always attack him, cause trouble for him. Why would we say that his enemy is one of the most important people in Buddhism? Isn't that kind of weird? You normally want to talk about the good people, right? Why would a bad person be one of the most important? And here's the reason. Without hardships and obstacles, where do your achievements come from? All of our achievements come from hard times. If it's not hard to do, it's not difficult to do, you don't feel the value of it. Why do people go to the Olympics? They train hard. All that hard training and hard competition makes it a valuable win. Well, what if you just raced a turtle? Would that be a big win? It's not very hard. You didn't have to train. It doesn't mean anything. But when you train against the best and you race against the best, suddenly your victory has a lot of meaning and importance. In all of our lives, we're going to have so many problems. We're going to have so many people that we feel like they're standing in our way. They don't help us. They're being bad people. But keep in mind that these people are also helping train your spirit, train your patience, train your wisdom. They're giving you an opportunity to rise above and become better than you were before because you have to overcome this enemy. And so in the history of Buddhism, the 3 most important people are the person who made the journey, the person who supported him the whole time, and also the person that pushed him to have to reach new heights. In our lives, do we not have the same thing? Looking at your 2 little kids, your family, you have a wonderful father and mother who are supporting you, right? Without them, you wouldn't be able to live and grow and prosper. So they are important in your life. But also the people that will eventually become your quote-unquote enemies, and people that you might not be friendly with. You're going to meet a lot of them. Sometimes drivers cut you off. Sometimes you meet weird people on the street. Sometimes your friends backstab you and are not good friends anymore. But all those people are there to train you, to be tougher, to be stronger, to be wiser. And one day you're going to see that they're going to create great value for your life.